All right, so good afternoon, dear students. And once again, we begin with our English language class. And today we are going to understand how to write a summary. Now, the summary question, or as it is called, the Prezi writing or summary writing is a compulsory question in your English language question paper. If you see the comprehension question, it is always given as the last question of the comprehension passage. So what do you do in case of summary writing? How do you write it? So what I have done is, in this video, I have put together some important steps which you must follow in order to write a proper Prezi or summary. So you must listen carefully as to what these points are. The points are on your screen. You can see them and you can also keep them in mind and follow them step by step. At the end of this video, I will show you the formats also, and I will also upload this PDF file separately in the group so that each one of you can have access to it and can remember the steps. You can save it, keep it, and always make use of it when you have to write a summary. Best is if you note down these points in your English language copies and keep them with you, because you will be needing summary writing in future when you go up to class 10 and again in class 11 and 12. And in case of those who are in class 10, I have already taught you summary writing last year. I am going to give you the details once again here, and you can have a clearer and a better idea about summary writing from this video. So please listen to the explanation. I am going to explain these points little by little to all of you. First point. First and foremost, read the question asked very carefully. So when you see the question where you have been asked to summarize, you will see that it carries 8 marks and it will ask you to summarize certain things concerning the passage or maybe the entire passage itself. The question will tell you what to do in 50 words. Your word limit is 50 words. Now, so you have to read the passage very thoroughly. Understanding the question is of utmost importance. So what you need to do is, once you understand the question, then only start reading the passage. Understanding the question is very important. Once you have understood the question, read the comprehension passage thoroughly and carefully. How will you read it? Thoroughly. Don't leave out anything. Just keep reading. You may come across a difficult word of which you don't know the meaning. Doesn't matter. Continue reading. You will still understand and get an overall idea about what the passage is trying to say. So read the unseen passage, on which you have been given some questions also separately to answer, some word meanings to write, and now you are doing the summary of the passage. So read it again thoroughly and carefully. As you read, now see, reading technique. As you read, look for points relevant to the question asked. That summary question, whatever has been asked in the question, look for points when you are reading the passage. For this, you must read the passage slowly and carefully, at least 2 to 3 times. Remember, one reading is not enough. Read 2 to 3 times. Now, while reading the last time, point number 5, read deliberately slow and keep noting down the points in short sentences or phrases. So when you are reading the third time, the last time, note down, write down the points. In your same answer script where you are doing the summary question, give the heading points and write down the points. When you are writing down the points, make sure that you write in your own words, and if you are writing in short phrases or sentences, make sure that your grammar is not full of error. It should be correct grammar, your sentences and your phrases. So note down the points. Then point number 6. Once you have written down all the relevant points, compare your notes with the main passage to see whether you have all the necessary and important points. So you have written down the important points, what you felt are relevant to the question. So after that, cross check. Check with the passage, compare with the passage and see whether you have all the important relevant points. All quotations, proverbs, exclamations and dialogues should be skipped. anything in the passage like an interjection or a quotation or a proverb or something written in direct speech, these things should be skipped. Direct speech can be converted to indirect speech. And remember, your summary is supposed to be only the gist of the passage. That means only the main points. You have to compress the idea into just 50 words. So all unnecessary details should be discarded, should be avoided altogether. So keep that in mind, because summary is also called Precis. And Precis comes from the word precise. And precise means exact. So you have to be exact, to the point. You have no scope for beating around the bush. Don't write unnecessary details, otherwise you will exceed the word limit. So don't let that happen to you. Now, make the format on a fresh page. What kind of format? By writing the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 on the top line, leaving sufficient gap between the digits so that the entire line is covered by the digits. What will you do? You have written the points. Now on a fresh page, on top, the first line, you can write 1, then leave some space, then write 2, then 3, then 4 and finally 5. Leave equal gap between these digits. That should cover up the entire top line. Then what do you do next? Give the heading to your format rough draft. What will be the heading? Heading will be rough draft. See the spelling, rough draft. Now you have to attempt to write a paragraph on the basis of the points which you have written earlier. You have already compared the points with the passage and seen that you have got all the important points. You have noted down in your notes, you have all the important points. Now on the basis of those points, attempt to write the rough summary. And how will you write it? In this format, what you need to do is, as you write, you must write only one word under each digit. You have to start from the very next line. First line, top line, you have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now from the second line, below 1, write the first word. Below 2, write the second word. Below 3, write the third word. Below 4, write the fourth word. And below 5, write the fifth word. There should be only 5 words written per line. So write one word under each digit, and in this way write 5 words in each line and continue for 10 lines or more if required. So you may continue in this way, 5 words in a line, again next line 5 words, again next line 5 words, again next line 5 words. In this way, total 10 lines. Why I am saying 10? Because your word limit is 50. So 5 into 10, 50. So it can exceed 10 lines or it can fall short of 10 lines. It generally exceeds. It does not fall short. Why it does not fall short? Because you can only fall short if you have not put together all the relevant points. And the question is asked in such a manner that it should come to minimum 50 words. So if you're falling short, you must have missed out on some important point. And if it exceeds 50 words, not a problem. This is only the rough draft you are attempting. We will make necessary corrections to shorten the paragraph so that it comes to 50 words. Now, mention while you are writing these 5 words in each line, you have written all these 5 plus 5 plus 5 in this way up to 50 or 55 or 60 words maybe. So mention the total number of words at the end of each line, starting from the very first line with the digit 5 followed by 10 at the end of the second line. See, first line you have written 5 words, so at the end of the first line write 5, digit 5. Then at the end of the second line, by the end of the second line you have already written 5 more words, so the total goes up to 10. So at the end of the second line write 10. Then at the end of the third line the total goes up to 15, so write 15. Then the fourth line the total goes up to 20, so write 20. In this way it will go on till you reach 50 and maybe more than 50. So up to 50 you have to write. Beyond 50 is extra, which has to be reduced. So that reduction will be done only after we have finished writing the paragraph. So this being your rough draft, it will either fall short of 50 words or exceed the word limit. That's what I was talking about just now. Now go through the rough draft and start making changes. Now comes your actual working. First working was reading the passage. Second working was noting down the points. And now comes the real working where you have to expand or compress so that you meet the word limit. That is 50 words. So start making changes, corrections and other necessary alterations by rephrasing, compressing, shortening or expanding your sentences till you are able to reach the 50 words limit. Once you are done, it is time to write the fair draft. So how will you do the fair draft? Format is exactly the same, only the heading will be fair draft this time. Once again, make the same format. Write the digits 1 to 5 on the top line and then in your best handwriting, very neatly, without making any corrections and errors, mistakes. Fair draft, there should be no corrections, no mistakes, no crossing out any word and rewriting, no overwriting. Neatly write down the final outcome of your rough draft. After you have done all your working, all your alterations, changes, corrections, expansion, compression, everything is over in the rough draft. So after doing that, what is the end result of that? That has to be copied fresh as a fair draft. So in the same pattern, that is 5 words in a line, and keep writing total of the number of words at the end of each line as you have done in the rough draft earlier. Remember, there should be no corrections done in the fair draft. I told you just now, at all. And it should meet the word limit of 50 words as closely as possible. Now, what do I mean by as closely as possible? Plus minus 1 or 2 words is allowed, but not more than that or not less than that. Now, suppose you have been asked to write in 50 words and you are writing in 40 words, obviously you will lose some marks. But if instead of 50 it's 49 words or even 48 words, maximum permissible limit, maybe minimum 48, maximum maybe 52. So then it is okay, it is acceptable, but it should not exceed or should not fall short. Remember this very well. Okay, a plus or minus of 1 or 2 words is permissible. In this way, your summary or your Precis will be finally ready. Now let's see the format. See, this is the rough draft format. First of all, on top I have written rough draft, and then the next I have left a line just for clarity. You can also do the same. I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaving equal gap. Do you notice that on your screen? Then alongside on your on the right hand side you can see I have written 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. What I have done is I have left a line in each case. Now it's not necessary for you to leave a line after each line. Here, just for the sake of clarity, I have done it to make you understand. Otherwise it will be too congested. But in your paper, which is much bigger than what you see on the screen, you can write on successive lines, but make sure it should be on the right hand side. Not outside the margin on the left side, but on the right hand side where I have written 5, 10, 15. This format can be done first. Once you have noted down the points, make this format. After making this format, just write 1 word below each digit so that you have 5 words in the first line. Total is 5. Then the next 5 words, total is 10. Already the digits are written. Don't try to write the digits after finishing your writing. Write the digits first so that you can adjust the words accordingly and fit them into the format. And there is space. This space is because of the fact that some words are bigger, some words are smaller. So there should be sufficient space so that you can accommodate all the 5 words in each line. Now see how it will look like. Suppose I have written the words, it will look something like this. See, rough draft. And then this is just a sample. Suppose I have written the man was terrified to see the police because he was a convict. He waited for the police to come up to him, an officer, etc., etc. Whatever be the case. So this is just to make you understand. So after that, I felt that the first 2 lines are too lengthy. The same idea, first 2.5 lines, same idea can be compressed and expressed in a different way with a different sentence. That is what I have done. Now here I have used red ink to make you understand, because this is just for understanding purpose. But when you are doing in your paper, you are supposed to use only blue ink or black ink. You are not allowed to use red. Red is only for the examiner. So you see, I have written the below the first digit, that is 1. Then man below second digit. Then was below third digit. It's not exactly the same, but overall it has come to 5 words in this line. Now because I have made use of a mobile app to do this, maybe the alignment is not very proper, but the lines, subsequent lines, you can see it is more or less understandable that there are 5 words in each line. So this is the way you are supposed to do. And then see, I have crossed out the unnecessary words and I have rephrased that first sentence. The man was terrified to see the police because he was a convict. Instead, what did I write? The convict was terrified to see the police. I have removed some of the unnecessary words. The meaning still remains the same, but the sentence becomes shorter. But the meaning does not change. So this is cleverly how you can shorten. Rephrasing a sentence, choosing a different word to generate the same meaning, but the sentence can be much smaller that way. So this is your innovativeness. Your mind has to work and you have to make the changes so that you can compress and make it shorter. So you should make the rough draft in this way. Cross out, rewrite, overwrite, all the corrections. Let it be dirty, doesn't matter. This is your rough work because your fair draft is coming up next. Now, when I have to make the fair draft, what do? I again make the same format. So look here. Here is the fair draft format. Again, same format, only the heading is changed. This time it says fair draft. And then after I have done all the corrections, changes and alterations in the rough draft, the final outcome or the final result or the end product of that rough draft is what I will write down here in the fair draft. Here there should be no corrections. It should be neat and clean in your best handwriting. So see, it has been done here. The convict was terrified to see the police. He waited for an officer to come, etc., etc., blah, blah, blah. So this is the way you write a summary or Precis. So it's a very simple step-by-step procedure, but it requires practice. And if you practice, you can do better. You have to keep practicing at home. You have to practice from the specimen papers and the previous year's question papers. Plus your total English textbook has a number of specimen papers or sample papers according to the board format. Class 10 students have a new total English book this time. Class 9 students, you have been given a total English textbook also. Total English book 9. It also has many sample papers inside it. Those sample papers or specimen papers or practice papers, whatever they are called, those are actually the exact format. They follow the exact format of your board question paper. So all those papers will have summary writing questions. Each comprehension passage is followed by this last question, which is summarize or write in 50 words. It will be clearly mentioned. So it carries 8 marks. You have to practice at home. So if you have understood this, I am uploading the PDF file also soon after this. First watch this video, understand the steps, and after that I am going to give you a homework. I will be uploading your homework after that, which you can do by following these steps. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.